climbing up a mountain, and I had this roadmap to kind of see how to climb up the mountain, to which rock I need to touch, which ledge I need to, which angle I need to go up the mountain. And I'm ready to go up the mountain. I start going up, and something's different. What it says on the map I have that I got from someone who's already climbed the mountain, it's kind of different from what the mountain actually looks like now. Something wrong? Did he miss something? No, he couldn't have made a mistake. He climbed the mountain. Why? Like, what is the problem? So I try to ignore it, and then I start climbing again, and then all of a sudden I fall. I start falling down to the plateau I was already at. And now I'm starting to think, like, okay, I had this roadmap that I got from the person who climbed this mountain, but it's not working for me. Every time I try to climb the mountain with this roadmap, with this type of specific path I need to go, it does not work. I take a day off and I start resting. The next day I wake up and I'm looking over the mountain. Like, I look down at from where I came from, and I end up slipping. I fall down the mountain. I'm at a plateau now that I was at before a couple weeks ago. Just because I wanted to look down and see how much progress I made. So what I do next, I already know how to get to the next level. I've already done it. So I climb up to the plateau. It takes a couple days though. And I see other climbers that are climbing up the mountain, and they're not going the path that this guy laid out for me. And I'm like, they don't know what they're really doing. I have the map to climb up myself, you know what I mean? And so I kind of get excited. I'm like, they don't know what they're doing. So I start climbing the mountain back from where I started, and I get past the point where it was different on the map. And I'm starting to notice that none of this adds up. The map that I was given does not add up to what is actually on the mountain in front of me. I get so confused, and in this confusion, in this overthinking of what rock to get, where to go now, I slip and fall to the plateau I was at. You see, this story never really happened, but I wrote this story a couple months ago on my self-improvement journey, and it was a representation of following what other people tell you to do and not really making my own decisions. In this video, I'm gonna teach you some things that you can do to learn how to trust yourself and what is so beneficial about trusting yourself. You see, everyone's path is different. If you constantly look at other people's paths and their journeys, everyone's different. Everyone's done it differently. So you can't just say, oh, this guy did this, so I'm gonna do that. You kind of have to make it up yourself and go along. I'm not saying not to learn from other people. It's wise to learn from others' mistakes. But it's not wise to not think for yourself. It's not wise to let others think for you. Because what do you gain from that if you constantly let other people think for you? See, it's good to ask for advice. It's good to be open-minded and see what other people are doing and kind of make up your own. Make up your own or make it even better. But what's not good is you're so open-minded to a point where you just let others make choices for you. It gets so bad to a point where you don't even know how to trust yourself, that you are so dependent on other people to make decisions for you. How are you supposed to grow? So the next thing I'm gonna go into is how influencers take advantage of you through this tactic. You see, I'm sure they don't purposely do it, but what you don't realize is when you don't think for yourself, you constantly look for answers from other people. Oh, what did they do? What did they do? You try to see someone who kind of resonates with you in a sense. And then you can kind of see, like, you kind of learn from them. But what you don't realize is you're not taking the time to actually think for yourself. Like I said, I'm not saying not to go learn from other people. It's good to have a mentor, and it's good to ask your friends for advice every once in a while. But it's not good when you're getting all your answers from external sources. When's the last time you made a decision for yourself? A big decision too. Let me tell you, I've been struggling trying to figure out the right path for me. And not even just the right path, specifics like, for example, what type of workouts to do, what type of diets to do, what type of video to film next. It's like these little decisions, it's like, now I look around on YouTube, what's going on, like, which one should I do? I'm looking towards other people for the answer. And I don't gain anything out of it because the next time I have that decision to make, I won't be able to make it by myself. See, how we learn from things is positive and negative feedback. Even if you made a bad decision, I'm sure it's not life-threatening, unless it's a huge decision, right? Then you have to kind of ask for advice from other people and go do some research. But these influencers will tell you anything anything to make you feel better. They'll tell you anything just to satisfy you and get you to like the video and get you to comment. Sorry, I'm a little sick right now, so I might sound a little weird. Whenever I try to even go look for advice online, it's so hard because I feel like everyone is either just trying to entertain me or they're just trying to get me to like it for the algorithm and get me to comment. They're just trying to get some type of reaction out of me. It's like there's not that many people that I see that are genuinely out here trying to change lives and trying to influence for real. Like you can really tell. Like you can really pinpoint, you can really tell if someone's being fake or not and being authentic. You can tell if someone's just putting out content to just make some money, or they just are putting out content just for the subscribers, just for the likes, just for the comments, whatever. So what you have to do is kind of be more aware of these things. I'm not saying don't take advice from these type of people, but I'm saying be more open-minded and kind of think for yourself. Do not be afraid to think for yourself. Let me tell you something, right? How do you think all these crazy inventors, like, they created things in their head? They didn't ask other people. They didn't go and like search up a YouTube video to figure it out. They sat down with themselves for hours, even days, and thought about it in their mind. How do you think Leonardo da Vinci came up with all those crazy inventions? It wasn't from asking someone. Like, he literally sat down and thought of it himself. And that's way more gratifying than getting it from someone else. Because actually sitting down and learning and thinking for yourself, it's more gratifying and more satisfying to figure it out yourself than to get it from other people. See, I don't want you to get this mixed up. I'm gonna mention this again. I'm not saying going and asking people for advice or going to find other people's wisdom is bad. It's not bad. But if you're dependent on it, you gotta be more aware if you're dependent on it. If you can't even ask yourself the questions and you can't even sit down with yourself and ask yourself and you're overthinking, you're like, oh, I don't know. And you try to hide away from it. Like you're trying to escape from the problem. That is when it's bad. So how do you build a relationship with yourself? Well, it all starts within. I'm sure you know about the voice in your head, those little demons that talk shit and make you like want to be a loser, that doesn't want to get you out of bed. That is your brain. That is your brain wanting you to be comfortable. And unfortunately, all of us have this inside of us. But that is our mind. Our mind just has thoughts in general. That is not the real us, because we have a self. This is why it's called self-improvement. See, you're not trying to get more money. You're not trying to just make your life better. You're trying to get better. And if you get better, your life will get better. What you don't realize is putting more work into yourself automatically generates output outside. Like, what I mean by that is when you're going in the gym, it's not about the output. It's not about the physique that you want or the muscles or the numbers in the gym. It's about showing up and putting in 100% effort every single time and going harder a little bit extra this time. It's about feeling that pain, feeling that struggle, that internal pain that no one else sees. That is where you grow. That's where you build a relationship with yourself. David Goggins represents this a lot in, you could watch some of his podcasts and stuff like that. He really mentions putting a callus on your mind, like actually putting grooves in your mind, going through those struggles, going through those pain points when no one sees it. No one's watching you. You're there by yourself. He also talks about not listening to music in the gym, because a lot of people, they depend on other people to motivate them in the gym when they're listening to music. To be fair, I listen to music in the gym. And I do enjoy it, but I am starting to realize, like, it's to a point where it's like I kind of need the music, and it shouldn't be a necessity. It shouldn't be a need. It should kind of like amplify it, right? It shouldn't give you that little burst that you need. You should try to self-motivate yourself. And this is where you build a relationship with yourself. When you're under that squat rack and you're fucking pushing some heavy weight, you're not gonna want David Goggins in your ear telling you get that shit up. You gotta tell yourself to get that shit up, because that's where you actually grow. That's where you learn. And that's where you can trust yourself. I'm gonna give you a quest right now. What you can do right now is, if your bed is messy or your room's not clean, say to yourself right now, I'm going to clean my room. I'm going to make my bed. Start telling yourself things and then go and do it so you can build that trust with yourself. You can do this, you gotta really start small. You can't just tell yourself, I'm gonna go make $1,000 today. Unless you actually run a business, it's just not gonna work. That's not how that works. Like, for example, you say, I'm gonna go hug my parents, and then you go do it. Boom. That's a trust point right there. You're building a relationship with yourself. And this is where you can actually start figuring out things for yourself instead of being so dependent on other people. Because to be honest, a lot of the social media, a lot of the media in general is just negative. They want to tear down your perception. They want to fucking put fear in you, and it affects you. It's affecting me. Like, those times where I'm scrolling on social media, I start to realize, like, this shit is numbing me. This shit is, like, making me really negative. And I start to realize it's like, that shit is like an escape, but that escape is not healthy. It's not healthy at all. That's why people are sad and they're depressed and they have anxiety, because they use these things as an escape because they can't figure out the pain that they're feeling or the problem that's right in front of them. What I do want you to get out of this video, though, is do the difficult things and try to be more self-motivating. Even journal with yourself. Talk with yourself as if you are the father of your body. You know what I mean? Like your flesh. Like you're talking to your flesh or talking to your soul. Like, just start talking to it, because that's where like the real like relationship builds with yourself. Always trust in yourself before you go trusting other people. That's the thing too. Like, a lot of people will go and just trust anyone. It's like they're so innocent and they just trust anyone. And you gotta be careful for that, because if you can't trust yourself, how are you gonna trust someone else? No one else really is gonna be there at every single moment when you're down. You're gonna have to pick yourself up eventually. That's where the relationship with yourself, that's where the motivation, the self-motivation kicks in. That's how you really grow. That's how you self-improve yourself. That's how you become a better person. It all starts within. And that's what I want you to get out of this video pretty much, is start spending more time with yourself and start trusting yourself, building that relationship. Do more difficult things, even when no one's watching. Go do some difficult things, and don't forget to keep moving forward.